Torah Life Ministries come out of the world. Messiah people seek the truth.
We see what it's saying here in Paul's message in Hebrews 3:12-15. It says, "Be careful then, dear brothers and sisters. Make sure that your own hearts are not evil and unbelieving, turning you away from the living Elohim. You must warn each other every day while it's still today, so that none of you will be deceived by the sin and hardened against Yahweh. For it is if we are fearful in the end, trusting Yahweh firmly, when we first believe, we will stay strong." We can't deceive another brother to stumble. We look at everything from the fabrics, from the clothes, from the places we wear, and from the people we hang out with. We must understand that Yahweh wants us to be set apart from this world. My plea to women is found in 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 says, "Don't you know that your body is a temple for the Ruach Kodesh, who lives inside you, whom you received from Yahweh? The fact is, you don't belong to yourselves, for you were bought with a price. So use your bodies to glorify Yahweh." And 1 Corinthians 3:18 and 19 says, "Stop deceiving yourselves. If you think you are wise by this world's standards, you need to become a fool to be truly wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness to Yahweh." Proverbs 4:12 says, "There's a path for everyone that seems right but ends in death." The world is following that path. My prayer in Psalms 119:37, "Turn my eyes away from the worthless things and give me life through your ways." My promise, Job 31:1, "Make a covenant. I promise to make a covenant with my eyes and not to look at a woman with lust." And my message to both men and women here, Amos 5:14 and 15, "Seek good and not evil, that you may live. So Yahweh, Elohim HaHost, shall be with you, as you have spoken." And 1 Corinthians 12:31, "Earnestly seek better gifts, and he shall show you a more excellent way." We have to understand, and we might not have thought about this, but even if we're not thinking about it, subconsciously, on every level, from what we see on TV, to what we see in the movies, to the movies we go to the movies we take our kids to the way people are dressed at the movies we go to the way people are dressed where we go, we have to understand we are just as accountable if we go there with our kids, with our husbands, with our wives, and so on. We have to do something about it. One of the greatest compliments somebody can give me is when they call me legalistic and they don't recognize the old me. But when they start saying I look like the world, that's when I start to question if what I'm doing is right. It wasn't my desire or passion to make you feel so sad as you look right now. But I do want to make you think about what you do when you get up and you put your clothes on and you walk out of your house and when you live your lives. You know, we don't know when the end times will come, but we know they're coming. You know, and just like Yahweh gave us time 440 years before the Israelites marched over the Jordan, he gave them people of that land 440 years to get right with his word. He told Noah 120 years or so before the end's going to come. He's given us a warning too. Do something about it now, or suffer the consequences. So, do we have any questions or comments here about this talk here?
Can you share a little bit of what you know about fabric?
Again, about fabric, linen and wool, which the scriptures say are the best fabrics. Not only are they best for our skins and naturally help our skin breathe, but it creates this frequency, as I said, which is really protective as a shield to our bodies. But when you mix it, it goes to zero. A lot of the synthetic fibers today are completely at zero in terms of their frequency. So we have to make sure that we're dressing with the clothes Yahweh wants us to wear and not wearing these synthetic fibers and so on if we want to be protected. You see, there's things he tells us in scriptures we might not understand, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do them. He'll reveal them to us when we're ready. So the types of clothes we wear, you know, show a lot in types of the fabric as well.
So would you dress your wife in a linen fabric that was mixed with rayon?
Let me answer that question. First of all, the question was, would I dress my wife in a linen fabric that was mixed with rayon? First of all, I am not dressing my wife with anything. I'm not falling into this trap here. My wife is dressing herself. would advise my wife not to mix fibers, and rayon is definitely not a healthy fiber. And 100% linen is an excellent fiber. Even cotton 100% is going to be better than rayon or mixed fibers at all. So I would advise her about that and still let her make her own choice. Yes.
What do you mean by frequency?
I don't want to say energy because it sounds like a new age kind of term, but we all have an energy or a field around us that really protects us or can harm us actually. Like for example, the microwaves or the EMFs. We can't see them, but they can actually do harm to our bodies. Well, the clothes we wear, the fabrics we wear, can create so much a shield or an energy that can protect us or help those environmental toxins bounce off us if we're wearing these things the correct way, the way we're called to. And that's been proving with science and lasers and all this other stuff they have out now. You know, myself and my own passions and struggles that I have dealt with this, and you know, I am in the process and I practice. I don't mean to offend anyone because I don't shake women's hands or touch women because, you know, there's something called nida, which is, you know, amongst the Jewish people, which is, there's a reason why they thrive and the divorce rate is lower than any other culture in the world, is because they have certain things in place where they do follow and are very beneficial. And there is something that happens when, you know, a man inappropriately touches a woman and vice versa. And as a protection for that, I follow my best, and to my best understanding, the guidelines of these ancient techniques that have been used for thousands of years. And my wife is the only woman that I want to be touching and desiring and so on. And that can be broken when a man touches a woman. And this is why, you know, and I believe Yeshua, you know, taught Torah. And this is, even though it's part of the oral Torah, it's still part of modesty, and it's something we need to consider because people today will hug and shake hands like it means nothing, but there's something that passes through a man and a woman, especially if it's at the inappropriate time, that we have to protect ourselves. We're called to protect ourselves. And I could tell you as a man, I feel so much stronger and prepared for the world knowing that I'm not going to let you know, my shield down by letting a woman, even if it's innocent and she has no intentions, to hug me or even touch me, because even though she might have pure intentions and so might I, the enemy has his intentions as well. So I'm going to do all I can to avoid that. And like I said, when people call me extremely legalistic, that's one of the greatest compliments I can get. Thank you.
What about jewelry? Like
What about it?
bracelets?
Well, it's clearly shown, the subject of jewelry is clearly shown in Scripture, like Esther, and there were times where jewelry was used, and it's okay, but for the most part, it is enhancing the body or idol worship to a degree, and you know, it's for the most part, jewelry is not needed or recommended, and it leads to immodest lifestyle. You know, and you know, some people, this is a popular subject and a common subject even amongst wedding rings, which is technically part of that whole thing. But you know, jewelry is an issue, and it's something else to look at and to consider. But certainly we don't want to go, and it's a great example of everything I'm saying here today. You don't want to go walking down the dark alleyway with beautiful diamonds and gold. You know, but that's what a lot of people do when they dress the way they dress and they walk outside their house.
You shared earlier that your wife nurses your baby. I was wondering if she had any specific convictions in that area, or how she does that in public, or...
Unfortunately, she doesn't have as many as I do about it. She obviously does her best, especially when I'm around, to make sure. I mean, she uses a blanket, you know, and so on, and she does her best to, you know, as long as a woman's covered up, there's certainly, I don't see an issue with it. The problem is, many women, because they're so focused into their baby and taking care of the baby, are not always going the extra step to make sure they're properly covered up. And they might think they are. And it's not only with breastfeeding. Even when they bend down, they might have pure intentions, but it might be an issue. So it's important in a gentle way for a man to remind their wife that that's not appropriate.
Did Adam and Eve have a belly button?
never explored that question before. But you know what? You know, if they did, I think in today's time, Yahweh wouldn't want them to be revealing it to the world. There are teachers out there that'll teach on the past history of the scriptures, and there are teachers out there that'll teach about the end times and what's to come in the future. But I believe Yahweh has me teaching about how to prepare ourselves and how to save ourselves right now, and how to eat and how to dress and how to take care of ourselves now, and understanding that before we do anything, we have to destroy the root. We have to destroy the root of the enemy, how he gets into us. Because our actions will last a certain amount of time, but if the root is destroyed, everything else is destroyed.
Come out of the world, oh my people.